Have you ever noticed subtle shifts in someone dear to you over the past year? Small changes that tug at your heart with worry? Many of us imagine that passing in old age happens out of the blue, a sudden curtain drop. But here's the reality. The body often whispers hints, quiet signals, months or even a full year before life gently fades to its close. The catch it is so... These clues are so faint at first that most of us overlook them, chalking them up to just getting older. It's only in hindsight when we piece it together that we see the signs were there all along. Too late to brace ourselves, too late to savor those final, precious moments. In this video, we're diving into 5 critical signs that often emerge in the year before an elderly loved one leaves us. Some might ring a bell, things you've seen but shrugged off, while others are quiet shifts that hint at the body's slow wind down. Spotting these early opens a window to offer better care, treasure meaningful time, and ensure their last chapter glows with comfort, dignity, and peace. Stay with us to the end. These 5 signs can arm you emotionally and practically for what's ahead. When you know what to look for, you won't be blindsided. You'll make the most of every second with those you hold dear. Let's get started. Sign 1, noticeable weight loss. First up, one of the earliest and most revealing markers that someone might be nearing their final year. Unexpected weight loss. It creeps in softly, a notch tighter on the belt, shirts hanging a little looser, or that once robust appetite shrinking to a shadow. Families often wave it off thinking, oh, that's just age creeping in. But here's the truth, dropping pounds without trying is rarely a happy accident. It's a red flag that the body's not soaking up nutrients like it used to. Muscles are thinning and vital systems are easing off the gas. Sure, aging nibbles at muscle mass naturally, but when the scale plunges too fast, it's whispering something more profound is at play. What's happening under the hood? The body might be wrestling with digestion, unable to break down food as it once did, or struggling to handle proteins that keep muscles sturdy. This fading strength doesn't just slow their steps, it ups the odds of tumbles, dims their immune defenses, and leaves them open to bugs they'd once shrug off. Appetite often takes a hit too. Many older folks just don't crave food like before. That zing of taste dulls, meals lose their allure. They might skip breakfast or nibble tiny bites, not because they're picky, but because their body's dialing back, no longer pinging the brain with hunger cues. Less fuel means less energy, less muscle, and a slow fade in vitality. Sometimes it's more than age. Silent conditions like cancer, heart strain, or kidney woes can be pulling the strings, sapping weight long before louder symptoms shout. Even a clouded mind or a heavy heart, like depression, can dim their urge to eat, spiraling into a cycle where the tank runs dry. Families might nudge with favorite dishes or protein shakes, hoping to plump them up. But if the pounds keep melting despite the effort, it's not just about food. It's the body gearing up for a bigger shift. Pushing big meals might miss the mark. Instead, think soft, comforting bites and sips of water to ease their days. My Uncle Tom, 78, shed weight last year. His jeans sagged, but we thought, he's fine. Looking back, it was the first whisper we missed. If you see this, less eating, weaker frame, fading spark, don't brush it aside. It's not just looks, it's a message. Catching it now lets you prepare with clear eyes and a full heart, making every moment count. Sign 2, profound fatigue and weakness. Next, a shift that stands out bold in the year before the end. Deep, unshakable fatigue and weakness. This isn't the yawn after a busy afternoon, it's a bone-weary exhaustion that clings, turning even the smallest tasks into mountains. Getting out of bed feels like a Herculean feat. Crossing the room takes a rally of will. Everyday joys, whipping up dinner, slipping on a sweater, or chatting over tea, become too heavy to lift. It's not just getting older, it's the body hoarding what little energy it has left as its inner workings slow to a crawl. Why this weariness? Organs aren't firing on all cylinders anymore. The heart pumps with less gusto, blood trickles is slower, and muscles miss out on the oxygen they crave. This is why so many in their final stretch feel wobbly, frail, unable to keep pace with routines they once breezed through. Metabolism shifts too. Energy that once powered a morning walk now gets rerouted, the body whispering, preserve, don't spend. You might see them napping longer, dozing through the afternoon, or fading mid-sentence. Alert 1 minute, wipe the next. It's not laziness, it's survival mode kicking in. The emotional sting cuts deepest here. Someone who once thrived on doing for themselves, cooking for the family, tending the garden, might now feel a pang of shame or frustration as their strength ebbs. They pull back, skipping chats or outings, not from disinterest, but from sheer depletion. It can spiral into solitude. They retreat, and the less they do, the faster they fade. For loved ones, watching this vibrant soul dim to a whisper aches, tempting to urge, just try harder. But pushing won't rewind the clock. What helps is meeting them where they are, letting rest be okay, keeping their space cozy. My grandma Rose, 80, went from bustling to barely moving last spring. We thought she'd snap out of it. Now I see it was her body saying, slow down. If you spot this relentless tiredness, rest not helping, energy gone, don't dismiss it. It's a cue to savor quiet talks, wrap them in peace, and let love shine over effort. Sign 3, growing confusion or withdrawal. Now a change that tugs at both mind and heart, rising confusion or pulling away. Someone who once sparkled with wit might start stumbling, forgetting names, losing the thread of a story, or looking lost in rooms they've known forever. They might repeat a question 3 times in an hour, or drift off mid-chat, even if memory lapses were never their thing. These foggy patches can flicker months or a year before the end. It's not just senior moments, it's the brain, like any organ, needing steady fuel. As blood flow and oxygen dip, thinking phrase, leaving them muddled, unsure, or blank where clarity once reigned. Sometimes it's fleeting. They shine bright, then cloud over, as if their minds playing hide and seek. Other times it's a steady fade. Decisions stump them. Familiar faces blur. Alongside this, you might see them retreat. That chatty soul grows quiet, skipping gatherings or staring into space for hours. It's not coldness, their brains struggling to juggle emotions and connection. Noise grates, talk tires, and they slip into a private world. Moods shift too, some snap or fret more, others turn eerily calm, untouched by what once lit them up. It's not them changing, it's their mind adjusting as the body winds down. For families, this stings. Watching them drift feels like losing them early. You might coax them to chat, hoping to pull them back, but it's not theirs to steer. Lean in instead, soft words, a steady hand. My dad, 79, started forgetting our calls last year, then went silent. I pushed, he pulled away. Now I see it was his signal. If they're fuzzier, quieter, less there, don't ignore it. It's a sign the end's nearing. Hold space for stillness, make it safe and warm. Words may fade, but love lingers, they feel it, even when they can't say it. Sign 4, frequent infections and slow healing. Next, a physical clue that's hard to miss. Repeated infections and sluggish healing. Someone who once dodged colds might now snag every bug floating by, each sniffle or scrape stretching longer to mend. Cuts linger, bruises dawdle. It's not chance. It's the body's defenses dialing back. After 70, the immune system tires and repair crews slow, leaving the gates ajar for trouble. Pneumonia, urinary infections, skin sores, even mouth woes pop up more, hitting harder and sticking around. Families might see these as random hiccups, but when they pile up or drag on, it's a whisper the body's fight is waning. Antibiotics that once zapped a bug fast might falter, stronger doses, longer waits, still no bounce back. Why? Blood moves slower, organs lag, and healing stalls. Wounds that won't close, like a scratch reopening, or sores that fester signal circulations fading, oxygen and nutrients barely trickling to where they're needed. Bed sores loom for the less mobile, a fast track to infection if ignored. Here's the twist. Infections don't always scream. Fevers might skip, replaced by a tired haze, muddled thoughts, or lost appetite. My Aunt May, 82, kept catching colds last fall. Then she'd just stare, quieter each time. We missed it. Her mind dipping was the clue. If they're sick or more, healing less, don't shrug it off. It's not cure time, it's comfort time. Hydration, clean skin, calm care, beat another pill. Watch close. Early gentleness makes their days softer. Sign 5. Major shifts in breathing or circulation. Finally, a stark sign the end's near. Big changes in breathing or circulation. You might hear their breath slow or shallow out, pauses stretching between, or a rhythm that flickers fast, then drags. Some slip into Cheney Stokes, a gentle seesaw of deep gasps and long silences, starting faint, growing clear over time. It's the body's quiet wind down, lungs easing off. Circulation fades too. Hands, feet, even ears turn cold, skin paling or tinting blue at the tips. Blood's pulling back, prioritizing the core as the heart softens its beat. Even small moves, sitting up, a few words, might leave them winded, gasping through their mouth or pausing to breathe mid-sentence. Walking a room's length, once easy, now falters. Lungs and heart stepping down. Fluid might pool, sparking a cough, a gurgle, or chest tightness. Not a cold, but a sign they're tiring. Lying flat chokes them. They prop up or recline to catch air. My grandpa Ed, 85, started breathing odd last winter. Cold hands, short puffs. We thought it'd pass. It was his farewell note. Families feel the fear, urging deeper breaths, panicking at the shift. But it's not always fixable. It's nature's slowdown. Cool rooms, humid air, tiny sips help more than forcing. Oxygen might ease, but comfort's the goal. If breaths waver, limbs chill, or color shifts, it's time. Be there, hold them close. Keep it peaceful. Their hearts whispering its last. They're not alone when you're near. And so, ladies, we've reached the end of this heartfelt journey together. A deep dive into the 5 subtle yet powerful signs that often whisper to us in the year before an elderly loved one steps into their final chapter. The unexpected shedding of weight, the heavy cloak of fatigue that won't lift, the quiet drift into confusion or retreat, the stubborn dance of infections and slow healing, and those tender shifts in breathing and circulation that signal a slowing heart. These aren't loud alarms blaring all at once. They're gentle ripples, soft echoes that might slip by unnoticed in the bustle of daily life. But when you start to see them weaved together, they form a poignant picture. The body's tender way of preparing to rest, a quiet prelude to its last bow. This isn't about dread or despair. It's about understanding, about giving you the eyes to see and the hands to hold through what's ahead. For so many of us, these changes stir a storm of emotions. It's natural to want to push back against them, to pile their plate with extra helpings, coax them out of bed for one more walk, or spark a chat to bring back the person they were. We ache to rewind the clock, to keep them vibrant and here just a little longer. But sometimes the truest love isn't in fighting the tide. It's in listening to what their body's whispering, in meeting them where they stand. These signs aren't a call to fix everything. They're an invitation to shift your focus, to cradle their comfort, weave moments of joy into their days, and wrap their final stretch in the dignity they've earned after a lifetime of giving. Knowing these clues doesn't just ready you practically, it steadies your soul, letting you pour love into every second you have left instead of scrambling in the dark when time runs thin. Think of what this means. Spotting that weight slipping off early could spark a tender dinner. Sharing their favorite soup not to force a cure, but to savor a laugh over the bowl. Seeing that fatigue settle in might mean a quiet afternoon together, a blanket tucked around them as you read aloud, their eyes resting while your voice carries a story. Noticing their mind wander or words fade could lead to a gentle hand on theirs, a soft song filling the silence they've slipped into. Catching those infections or slow mends might shift you to a soothing balm, a cool cloth, a murmured comfort over a cure. And when breaths grow shallow or hands turn cold, you're there, not with panic, but with presence, a steady anchor in their sea of change. This isn't about loss. It's about legacy, about making their last months a tapestry of peace and connection rather than a blur of missed chances. I've walked this road too. My grandpa Ed's slow fade last year taught me more than I could have guessed. His weight dropped, his energy waned, his chatter quieted. I saw it, but I didn't see it, not until later. Looking back, I wish I'd known these signs, not to change the ending, but to fill those days with more of him, more stories, more stillness, more us. That's why I'm sharing this with you, to give you what I didn't have, the clarity to act, the grace to prepare, the power to make every moment matter. You're not alone in this. Countless families have traced this path, and while it's never easy, knowing what's coming can light the way through the shadows, offering strength where uncertainty looms. So let's pause here. What's one piece of this that's landed with you today? Maybe it's the weight loss that's got you thinking about your mom's shrinking frame, or the fatigue that mirrors your dad's endless naps. Drop it in the comments. I'm eager to hear what's stirring in your heart, what you might weave into your days ahead. Your voice matters here. Every story you share stitches us closer, fueling this space with warmth and wisdom. If this has lit a spark, shifted how you see those quiet signs, give that like button a tap. It's a little boost that keeps these insights flowing to more who need them. Subscribe and flick on the bell so you're right there for the next wave of tips to navigate these golden years. Got a friend or sister walking this road too? Share this with them. It might be the gentle nudge they need to see what's unfolding. Thanks for joining me today. You're the heartbeat of this conversation. Here's to holding our loved ones close with every breath they take. See you in the next one.